listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about being open with others. And I know sometimes that's hard, right? Because we want to keep up with the Joneses. We want to look good. We want to say the right things. But believe it or not, the more open you are with other people, that's how you build connection in a more meaningful way. And so I definitely want you to stay with us, because in our next segment, we're going to be joined by Rhea Story, who's going to share with us about being sexually abused by her father, but yet she had to be open with her future husband, and really today open with her audience about the pain and the stress that she went through, but how she got out of the situation. So stay tuned for that. Also, we want to make sure that you're supported beyond today's show. If you need strategies or just, sounding boards, someone to vent to, that's what we're here for, because we want to make sure that you are able to get out of your mind and out of your heart all of that anxiety, all those concerns, and yet be able to thrive and really move forward in your life and not let the past hold you back. So make sure to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. Also, if you want to hear today's show again, just make sure to check us out. You can go to Alexa and search Living Full Out Radio, or go to your app store and you can find us there, or even livingfullout.com. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you. Now, when we talk today about being open with others, I realize that's sometimes easier said than done, right? It's like, how do you find the words to say what your heart or your mind is feeling? But that's what today's show is about. So do feel free to call in at 800-333-0001, and I'll be standing by taking your calls. In fact, I'm getting a word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi,
welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Hi, I am in my 60s, and I was wondering how I can learn to stop feeling guilty for not putting my children first in my life all the time.
Well, you know what, though? I bet you put them first for many, many years, right?
Okay.
Right? So when they were growing up, were you there for them? You gave them clothes, you gave them comfort, you guided them, you mentored them. At some point, there's this switch. So how old are your kids now?
Now, 48, the youngest one, 40.
Okay.
I have 4, yeah.
Okay. Now, do they need you to hold them? Do they need you to shop for them like you used to?
No.
Nope. Right? They're fully capable on their own, right?
Yes.
Now, let's flip this around. Do you think that they are happier knowing that their mom is out there living full out, enjoying life? Or do you think that they would be more happy knowing that you're just waiting by the phone in case they need you?
No, I think they will be more happy if I go to my life.
Exactly. So the thing is, well, it's admirable to, have, in some ways, to have that guilt, like I should be there for my kids all the time. The interesting thing is they want you to be happy. So let's get you out there. Let's get you happy. What do you want to do with all this free time?
But I feel guilty all the time. I don't know why.
I know, but the thing is we just talked about, you should let that guilt go, because the more that you're enjoying life, that there's no reason for guilt. Because remember, they can do their own shopping. They can wash their own clothes, right? They have their own life.
Right.
It's time now for mom to have her life. So what is one thing that you can do today that would make you feel good, that would bring you joy? What's one thing you could do today?
I don't know, go out shopping.
Okay. And it doesn't mean you have to buy things. right? Window shopping, right? You can get together with your friends. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you a homework assignment beyond today's call, okay? I want you to make a list of all the things that you can do on a daily basis that, bring a smile to your face, things that you enjoy. And then I also want you to make kind of like a bucket list, like a future list, things that you might shoot for, a month from now, a year from now, okay? So that you're never wondering, gosh, what should I do today? On my list, I would have, I am going to go get a massage. Okay, I'm going to go karaoke. I am going to call a friend and go to a movie. So you want to have kind of this list of go-tos that you can say, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Let me go to my list. Right?
Oh, okay. Right.
You see that? So if you do that, no doubt you'll live full out, but don't worry. Your kids are just fine. Just let that go. You got to let it go. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
And I'm so glad she brought that up, right? Because sometimes we do feel like we have to be there for other people. And it's kind of like, how can we live our own life when we're taking care of others all the time? Sometimes you just got to tear off the Band-Aid and let people live their own life. And when they fall, they're going to learn. They're going to make mistakes, and they're going to grow from that experience. And when they have winning moments, you'll be there to celebrate with them, but you just got to let it go. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we have another caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling in. How can I help you?
I was wondering, how can I enhance my focus when I'm performing in athletics on the long jump runway?
Well, first of all, I admire you. That's amazing that you have such great talents. But what you really have to look at is, are there people that you respect, that you look up to, that you would like to get to their athletic level?
Yes.
Okay. And so what you want to do is you want to become very aware of how did they get there. Now, I don't know if these are people that you know and you can pick up the phone and see them face to face, or if these are people that you only admire from afar, maybe from TV or YouTube. But it's really important to look at, what is somebody's training regimen? What is their support structure? What do they do in terms of their stretches? What is their diet? And just really kind of diagnosing, okay, what am I doing compared to what they're doing? And see what changes you can make. Have you considered doing that?
No, I've never considered doing that, but I will now.
Yeah, and the thing is when you do that, you might just find, gosh, I do exactly what they're doing. And then at that point, tap yourself on the shoulder and say, good job. But then you might find gaps where they're excelling, and you're like, oh, I never thought about that. That's going to up your game. And then I firmly also believe in, when you go to bed at night, have images of you soaring, leaping, running further and faster. What you put in your mind kind of dictates what you're physically going to do. But if you do all that, I know you'll do great. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you. I really appreciate that he actually asked that question, right? Because sometimes when we look at our life and we consider where others are, sometimes we can feel bad, right? We can be like, oh my gosh, I don't have that much money, or I don't have that relationship. But I want everybody to remember, we're not all in the same race. And it's not like you're in different lanes and you're all shooting for the same goal. Everybody has a different career goal. Everybody has a different relationship goal. I mean, truthfully, we're all even going to live to be different ages. Some people live a long life, 100 plus, and other people it's cut short too early. So it's really just making the most of the time you have today. I'm a firm believer in visualizing what you want. That's exactly what I was telling the prior caller. And so when you are looking at your life have together kind of those ideal goals that you're shooting for. And then I want you to tell as many people as you can about those goals. Really allow them to help you stay accountable, because that is what's going to help you to reach further and farther, and also ensure that you achieve that goal. Or maybe sometimes you have to self-correct. I've done that a lot. So stay with us, because it's all about being open with others. And our next guest, Rhea Story, sharing her story of sexual abuse from her father, being so open with us. How was she able to do that? What are her secrets? We are going to learn from her. And over the course of the show, remember, you can be equally open and honest with us. We're a very loyal and loving audience. So, make sure that you feel free to call on in, and I'll be here to give you the best advice I can. So it's all about living full out, being open with others. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be right back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, Certified Life and Business Coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar. I was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road.
It
happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org. healthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to Living Full Out Show. My name is Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about being open and honest with others. And sometimes that's just so scary because we don't want to get rejected and we wonder what people are going to think. And I'm here today to say, you know what? Put what people are going to think aside, because when you are able to be open with people, you kind of get out of your body, out of your mind, out of your heart, all of that anxiety, all of that pain. And it's not like you're giving it to another person, so now they're weighted with the pain. But we all are connected by our tragedies, our stresses, our hopes, our dreams, our accomplishments. All of those things connect us together. And that is why, on every show, we take great consideration into selecting an inspirational guest that we feel really identifies with the theme. And our guest today, Rhea Story, she really has gone out there in terms of being open with others about being sexually abused by her father, pretty much from age 12 to 17. And so I personally give her so much respect for being courageous in sharing her story. So I'd like to welcome Rhea to the show.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm excited to be here with you.
Well, you are such a bubbly light in this world. Like, no one would ever think the Rhea of today went through such haunting pain that you did as a child. And, it's sometimes hard because, we want to be in this positive place. We're a motivational show. But in order to see how much growth you've had, we do have to go backwards in time. So I know that for the most part, the sexual abuse started at 12. But can you let us know, and I realize this is a touchy topic, but can you let us know in what ways he abused you?
Yeah, my father, by the time I was age 12, I was homeschooled, and so I grew up on a farm, very isolated. We didn't go to school. We didn't really go to church. We kind of did all of those things at home. So very isolated from society. I mean, we had other homeschool friends, but we didn't see them very much. We didn't get out much and, pretty much just stayed to ourselves. And so by the time I was 12, my father just really started some conversations around how he didn't have a relationship with my mom and, they didn't believe in divorce as a religious household, quote unquote. And from there, the conversations kind of turned a little darker into I was, maybe God's gift to him or solution that I could help him meet his needs and not, he wouldn't have to seek a divorce from my mom since his needs were not being met. And so, it started out as just conversations about what men and women do and progressed from there to asking me to dress in certain outfits, especially when my mom and brother weren't in the house. My dad and I would be alone there, and he'd have me dress up and then come out, and the outfits would get a little skimpier and a little more revealing, and that just continued over several months, and even to the point of lingerie, and then the touching started, and pretty soon, not one long after that, he wanted me to touch him too. And, over the next few years, I really didn't have an outlet socially. I really didn't have a comparison or an idea that this wasn't normal. But I knew deep down it wasn't right. Otherwise, why did we have to hide it? Why did we have to wait till nobody was there? And the older I got, the more that sense of wrongness developed, and I started to just carry a sense of shame of this isn't what this isn't normal. This isn't what other people do. This isn't right. And yet I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't have any close relationships really in my life.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you again for sharing that with us because, it is hard to talk about. And it's interesting because I know your father used religion a lot as a way to manipulate you with this, making it seem like it was a good thing or God's wish or whatever. But, other than just being the one who would intimately be with you, he actually human trafficked you to other men. How did that work?
He did. By the time I was 17, he had bought me a wedding ring, a fake wedding ring to wear when we were out in public, but not around my mother or my brother or close family. And by the time I was 17, he was having sex with me, and almost every night would engage in some sort of sexual interaction with me, whether that was fondling or something like that. And that kind of progressed. He started saying he wanted to give me an ultimate experience in life. And sometimes that meant taking nude photographs of me. Sometimes it meant tying me up and beating me with a riding crop. And then he started talking about introducing me to another person sexually. And so he found people on the internet, and we would travel out of state under pretext of a birthday trip or, a horse show or something like that, something that he would, contrive that my mom wouldn't go or my brother wouldn't go. And, by this point I was 18 and then 19. And, a lot of people in my family and not close friends, but people who were my friends, noticed that there were some signs that this wasn't right. Like, this is just not normal behavior for fathers to dress their 19-year-olds like this and take trips with them. And, I just, at that point, I didn't have any idea that I would ever get out of a situation. I was desperate enough to start trying to run away. I would start sneaking out of my house, and, Dad caught me a few times, and he would always bring me back and just emotionally manipulate me. And, again, there are times where I look back and think life just wasn't worth living. And I really considered ending it at some point. But, I think every single one of us face adversity in life. And what I realized was that, there's always hope for things to get better. We don't always see the way out, but we know that things can get better. Because true freedom is really our state of mind.
It's and that's interesting that you say that, because, it is true. And you were just doing what your dad told you to do, and in some ways you were under his thumb, under his rule, until you could finally break free. And when it comes to, being with other men and all of that, I imagined something would guide you, something let you hold on to that strength. And so when we come back, I want to pick up your story there, because I think we all need to remember, what can we mentally shoot for? What can we visualize that allows us to keep going? And so I'm curious to know what that was for you. So stay with us. And everybody, while Rhea is telling her story today, obviously being sexually abused by her father, we've all gone through abuse. It may be bullying, it may be self-sabotaging ourselves, but today is the day that you can let that go. And it sometimes starts by just expressing yourself and sharing it with others. So stay with us. I am Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, and we're coming right back talking about how you can be open with others so you can live your life full out. We'll be back.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're talking about being open with others. And our inspirational guest today, Rhea Story, has done just that, sharing with us really the intimate details of being sexually abused by her father from age 12 to almost 19. So I'd very much like to welcome Rhea back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. And, you know, I wanted to ask you a question because it's a little bit like a double-edged sword or a two sides to the coin. I'm not sure what you want to call it. But during these years that you're being abused by your father and just seeing all this escalate, you know, was there on one hand times that you just wanted to give up, that you wanted to hurt yourself, or, you know, did you have any toxic behaviors that, you know, you would turn to? But on the other side, what gave you hope? Because I would imagine even during the times he was abusing you, whether it was emotionally or physically, something got you through it. He didn't break you, not completely. Can you share with us about that?
Absolutely. I did definitely. I mean, I can remember thinking about, I'd heard that a very painless way to end things was a tub of warm water and a razor blade. And I can remember thinking about that, and I knew where the razor blades were, and I can remember that moment so clearly, like sitting in the chair in my room and thinking, he's never going to let me go. I'm never going to get out of this. And, I'm a person of faith. And if you're a person of faith, then I would share that I think the only thing that gave me hope was just that sense of we don't always understand the pain that we go through in life. But we know that God can use it for good things. And so that's just part of my faith that is part of what I believe, a big part of what I believe got me through that. And then as I started, just sneaking out of the house and then running away a couple of times, I started to think, you know what, it may not be the right time or the right situation, but sooner or later, I could get out of this.
Did you ever have anger? Like anger at your mom, like stop this, stand up, or even anger at God, like why would you have this happen to me,
Absolutely. And really and truly, I had more anger toward both of my parents while I was living there. But after I left home for good and didn't look back, then I really struggled with anger at God. It was almost like, God, why would you let something terrible happen to me? But why do you let why do we all have terrible things happen? And, for me, I think we don't always know the answer, but I found my answer when I started sharing my story, and it took me many years to get to that point. Mm-hmm. But when I started, after I left home, beyond telling my now husband and a couple of close friends, nobody really knew. I didn't want to talk about it. I just kind of pretended the first 19 years of my life didn't exist. And I didn't want to be known as a victim. I didn't want people to feel sorry for me. I surely didn't have the strength back then to go through a trial and press charges. And I really just told my parents, go away, leave me alone, and let's just move on.
Yeah. And I know in your story, you had really primarily two pivotal moments. One, when your now husband actually was the first person to ask you and even confront you about being abused. And
we had not been dating very long, just a few months. And he really went on a limb there to just say, look, I'm seeing some red flags here. Is this what's going on? And he probably thought there was something going on, but he probably had no idea, the depth. But to his credit, he stood by me and just said, you know what, I don't care where you go, if you go to the police or if you go to your grandparents, but I'll help you leave, and you don't have to come here, but you're not going back.
And I know another pivotal moment for you was when you finally publicly told your story. I mean, I remember telling people I was going to go blind, and I'd be crying in my tiramisu. I wouldn't even know what to say to like a boyfriend. Hi, do you want to date me? I'm going to go blind in a couple of years. Is that a problem? Right? Like, I mean, how do you find the words? So when you decided to come out publicly and tell your story, I mean, literally, how did you find the words?
I was at a speaker training event, and they asked everyone who was there to create a 1-minute speech, because Les Brown says the best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. And I had really been wrestling with the decision of whether I could share my story of my past and whether I should, where's the benefit? Does it help somebody else? So when I became convinced that sharing, the story, as terrible as it wasn't the rest of the story. And, sharing what I'd been able to overcome and go on to achieve made the story worth sharing, because it gave other people who are going through something tough in their life or trying times in their life. And then when I realized that, I was like, that gives me a purpose. And I didn't want to share it. I didn't really want to talk about it. I didn't want to go back and dig those memories up. But Mark Twain says the two greatest days in your life are the day you're born and the day you discover why. And so we were at that speaker training, and it ended up being 47 seconds. And I just got up and I just said, you know what? I'm not going to let the past hold me back. We can all choose. We don't get to choose what happens to us, but we choose how we respond to it.
Wow.
And that was kind of the essence of my 47-second speech.
That is so powerful. And, you know, I've always had a soft place in my heart for people who have been sexually abused. Back when I was in my early years of getting my psychology degree and all that, I was actually a sexual assault support counselor. And so heard a lot of different stories. And, you know, over the years, you know, there's even shows like Special Victims, SVU, right? You know, and I think they try to tell the person's story who has been sexually assaulted, but truthfully, it is scary to come forward, and it's really hard sometimes to convict the perpetrator, right? So how, you know, you held off on going to trial back when you were 19, but later on, you did take him to trial. How did that come about?
I did. And like I said, after I left home, I really just wanted, you know, to move on with my life. And, you know, I think everyone has to come to their own decision of whether to press charges or not. For me, I just really wanted to find healing and move forward. And, you know, I knew that it would, you know, it would almost have destroyed me. I just didn't want, I was still so dealing with so much shame and a false sense of guilt of all of the things that I'd been through. Really, the best decision for me at the time was to just put it behind me. And, you know, I really had to live with that because there's always the fear that what if he did it again, or what if he did it to somebody else? And what if I could have stopped that? And I may never know that. But back a couple years ago, my parents, who had moved out of state and like cut off contact with the entire family and, you know, just moved out of state and basically left our lives. And they stayed gone for years and years. But a couple of years ago, my dad came back in form of writing harassing letters to some of our family members and basically asking or telling them that they should end their relationship with me. You know, even though I'd been here this whole time and he was the one who was gone. And, you know, at that point, I thought, you know what, I'm not the same terrified 19-year-old victim that I was, you know, almost 20 years ago at this point. And so I went forward and pressed charges. And the statute of limitations had run out on a few charges, but not all of them. So, you know, at that point, I said, you know what, I would not have picked the fight. But I can't stand by and see you harassing, you know, our family and trying to destroy us. And, you know, it's bullying. It's like you mentioned, you know, we all experience bullying or adversity or something, but that's a form of bullying. And,
was he ultimately convicted?
No, he was not. And as you said, it's very, very difficult to get a conviction in these cases. It comes down to so long, you know, years and years and years later, there's not a lot of evidence beyond testimony. And, you know, I think that's why a lot of survivors don't press charges, because they're scared of, well, what if he's not convicted?
In that moment, Rhea, is there any winners? Did you feel like you won because you made him accountable? Do you feel like he won because he dodged being convicted? Or what is that moment like?
You know, to me, most people may not understand, but I feel like it was a victory, because up until that point, you know, he dominated the first 19 years of my life, and he kind of had a shadow over quite a few years after that, because I let that fear hold me back. I let the shame hold me back. And, you know, regardless of the outcome, you know, the jury is really charged with, is there just enough evidence to convict? And so that's a pretty heavy charge, and I respect their decision. There have been things I could have done differently. I could have pressed charges so much earlier, and maybe that would have affected the outcome.
Well,
but I felt like it was a victory. It was a victory for me, because I was able to look him in the eye and say, you know what, you didn't break me, and I'm not going to carry that burden of shame.
And that right there is very living full out. You're not a woulda, coulda, shoulda girl, right? What I like about you is you are living large, living big, and it is no accident that your last name is Story, because you went out there, you told your story, you were courageous, and I respect that so much. So I want to thank you for being on today's show, sharing with us really the ins and outs of your life growing up and going through all this. And we're just going to continue to wish you all the best. I know you're thriving now, and he's in the rearview mirror. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely, Nancy. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. And we'll be wishing you positive thoughts. Have a great day.
All right. Take care.
Bye. And for everybody listening, well, Rhea may be telling her story today. You can tell yours. We'd love to hear from you and perhaps have you on as a guest. Go to livingfullout.com or email us at connect@livingfullout.com and let us know your story, because you too can inspire someone in our audience or help us to look at life just a little bit differently, put more hope in our hearts, give us a brighter vision to strive for. So most of all, here's to all of you living full out. We'll be coming right back, taking your calls. We'll be back.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
I want to be a football stadium.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
you know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Today we're talking about being open with others, and it's really important to open your heart and identify, what is it that I've learned? What have I gone through? How can I share that, pay it forward, and make someone else's life brighter? Teach them, inspire them to live full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out show. And today we're talking about being open with others. And it's just one of those things where it's hard to do, but once you do it, there's this ability to exhale. It's like tearing off that Band-Aid. It's being able to validate and respect yourself and your thoughts and really letting the past go. So I encourage all of you listening today, to be open with others. And that could be something that you've gone through in your life, but that could also be something you're shooting for, a goal, an aspiration. But when you are able to be open with others, now you're letting it out there, right? And that too can be scary, because what if it doesn't work out? But the thing is, to live full out means that you take risks, that you put your heart out there and you go for it. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, Nancy. This is Charlie, and I have a question for you.
Yes. Hi, Charlie.
Hi. How do family members support and convince another family member that they have to leave a male abusive relationship?
So, in your question there, is there somebody in your life that is in this relationship and you're trying to figure out how to tell them to leave?
Yes.
Now, have you told them to leave previously?
Yes, like multiple times.
And what do they tell you as the main reason why they're not leaving?
They honestly just don't say much about it because they don't like the fact that they are hearing the truth. So when we do mention that to them, they get very defensive and mad at us for telling them.
So the reason why I asked that question is because the reaction does not surprise me. So I actually grew up with domestic violence, and I know people who have gone through it. So I can see both sides of the scenario. But the thing is someone's decision to leave an abusive relationship has a lot to do with timing and also how they feel about themselves. And everybody's situations are different, whether they're financially dependent upon their abuser, whether or not that abuser has kind of wilted down their self-esteem to where they're now believing what the abuser says. There's also where am I going to go? How am I going to afford myself? Where am I going to live? And there's so many questions that it really has to take that person being abused to make that leap, to take that step. And while you're lovingly trying to tell them, leave, I can see how over time that might become noise. And when they are abused, they might not come to you in fear of the I told you so's, right? So what I suggest is just be that steady sounding board, okay? Always be that person they can call. Even if it's the same story over and over again, just having that ability to call you and vent to cry, that outlet, if they don't have that outlet and they don't feel it's a safe one, then they keep it inside. And that stress can cause a lot more other health conditions, right? Also, do research for them. Give them hotline numbers. Give them places they can go to get away. Just be that good friend. Be that good relative. But I would hold back a little bit, because that pushback is telling them, hey, I need you to be a safe place to fall, not another person telling me what to do. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, exactly.
Okay. And that's hard. It is hard. It's hard because you love them. But again, you don't ever want to put yourself in that place where they feel like they can't call you because, you're just going to tell them I told you so. Okay?
Right. Exactly. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in.
Of course.
For everybody listening today, it is really hard to be open with others. And just like in the reference of our last caller, if you're being abused domestically, sexually, emotionally, if you're bullied, if you feel judged, whatever it may be, today's the day that I want you to turn to somebody, whether it be our show or a family member or a friend or even a stranger. Just tell one person, because that is how you start to take your power back. I want to thank everybody for listening today. This was a really tough topic, but we got through it together. And our entire Living Full Out family is dedicated each week to making sure that, we bring you topics, we bring you guests that inspire you, but hopefully also educate you in knowing that there's more out there in your quest to live full out. Make sure that if you need more support on this topic, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Check us out on all social media, not from a publicity standpoint, but we want to make sure that you're supported. We have great ideas on there and inspirational copy and resources, all dedicated to helping you to live your life full out. We'll be seeing you next week. Until then, here's to you living your life full out.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.